Hello, travelers, and welcome back to the Mythical Mug Tavern. In today's video, we're talking about the dark and terrifying cryptids that lurk in the shadows, creatures whispered about in hushed tones, said to bring fear, misfortune, or worse. From eerie legends to real-world encounters, these beings are not for the faint of heart. So grab a seat and your favorite drink, and let's begin. The Rougarou is a variation of the French loup-garou, a legendary creature rooted in Cajun folklore in Louisiana. Described as having a human body and the head of a wolf or dog, the Rougarou prowls the swamps and woodlands, often used in stories to instill fear and encourage obedience among children. Some tales suggest it hunts Catholics who break Lent, echoing older French legends. The curse of the Rougarou is said to last 101 days, during which it can pass the curse by drawing blood from another person. Other variations depict the Rougarou as a rabbit, or linked to witchcraft, with only witches able to create such creatures. In October 1903, the small town of Van Meter, Iowa, was shaken by reports of a mysterious creature. Several respected townsfolk described a winged beast that terrorized residents over several nights. Witnesses noted its large bat-like wings, an awful stench, and the bizarre ability to shoot bright beams of light from its forehead. Locals attempted to shoot the creature, but their efforts were in vain. Frustrated by the ongoing menace, a group of townspeople banded together one night and tracked the creature to an abandoned coal mine. There, they encountered not one, but two of the beasts. As they opened fire, the creatures vanished into the darkness of the mine, never to be seen again. Popobawa, an evil spirit or shetani, is believed by Zanzibar residents to have first appeared on Pemba, a Tanzanian island. Popobawa is a shapeshifter, capable of taking both human and animal forms, not just the bat form implied by its name. It usually visits homes at night, but can also appear during the day. Sometimes its presence is accompanied by a sulfurous odor. Popobawa attacks men, women, and children, often targeting entire households before moving on to another nearby. Its attacks range from physical assaults and poltergeist-like activities to feared sexual assault. Victims are often pressured to tell others about their assault and are threatened with repeat visits if they don't. During Popobawa panics, many people stay awake outside their homes at night, huddling around open fires with family and neighbors for protection. The Beast of Bladenboro refers to a creature linked to animal deaths in Bladenboro, North Carolina, during the winter of 1953 to 54. Witnesses suspected a wildcat, but its identity was never confirmed. Most of the victims, especially dogs, were either crushed or decapitated. The first death occurred on December 29, 1953, when a dog was killed near Bladenboro. Over the next week, more dogs were found dead, their bodies severely mutilated. Locals described the creature as sleek and black, with some saying it resembled a panther or a bear. Large hunting parties were organized to catch the beast, but no definitive evidence was found. In mid-January, a local farmer shot a bobcat, which was declared the Beast of Bladenboro, though many doubted such a small animal could have caused the attacks. Speculation remains, with theories ranging from wildcats to large dogs. In Arkansas folklore, the Howler is a legendary creature believed to inhabit the Ozarks. Traditionally described as bear-like with a dark, shaggy coat, the Howler has captured the imagination of locals. In December 2015, 4029th News, an Arkansas television station, reported receiving photographs that viewers claimed depicted the creature. However, When the station reached out to the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, officials stated they had received no credible sightings and characterized the images as a hoax. Despite this skepticism, reports of the howler have surfaced in other contexts. In the fall of 2014, call records to the AGFC included an incident from Benton County. In October of that year, a recorded emergency call detailed a near collision between a motorist and an unidentified anime. The conversation indicated that armed wildlife officers were dispatched to investigate a sighting of a bear-sized gray animal running quickly on Pump Station Road in Springdale. The Chupacabra is a cryptid widely believed to roam certain regions of South America, its name translating from Spanish as goat sucker, reflecting its alleged tendency to drain the blood of livestock, particularly goats. Descriptions of the Chupacabra's appearance vary, but it is often characterized as a heavy creature, roughly the size of a small bear, with a distinctive row of spines running from its neck to the base of its tail. Reported sightings of the Chupacabra date back to 1995 in Puerto Rico, and since then, accounts have emerged from as far north as Maine and as far south as Chile. There have even been claims of sightings outside the Americas in countries like Russia and the Philippines. However, many of these reports lack solid evidence or have been dismissed as unverified. In northern Mexico and the southern United States, some alleged Chupacabra sightings have been attributed to canids suffering from mange, leading biologists and wildlife management officials to regard the Chupacabra as a modern myth rather than a genuine animal. The Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil, is a creature from South Jersey and Philadelphia folklore, said to inhabit the Pine Barrens. Descriptions vary, but it's often depicted as a bipedal, bat-winged creature with a horse or goat-like head, hooves, and a forked tail, emitting a terrifying scream. According to legend, the creature originated in 1735 when a woman, Mother Leeds, cursed her 13th child, which transformed into a monstrous creature and flew into the woods. Some versions claim she was a witch, and the child's father was the devil. The story also ties into the Leeds family, prominent in colonial New Jersey, with connections to political and religious disputes that fueled the legend. Sightings have been reported since the 18th century, with a wave of sightings in 1909 causing mass hysteria. Skeptics suggest misidentified animals or local folklore contributed to the legend. Despite no hard evidence, the Jersey Devil remains a key part of Pine Barrens mythology. The Nain Rouge, or Red Dwarf, is a legendary creature from Detroit folklore, said to bring misfortune to the area's white settlers. Although tales of the Nain Rouge emerged in the 1880s, it is linked to earlier events, including a story involving Detroit's founder, Antoine de la Motte Cadillac, who angered the creature and faced a series of unfortunate events as a result. Described as a small, red-faced being with sharp teeth and glowing eyes, the Nain Rouge is believed to have appeared before significant disasters, such as the Battle of Bloody Run in 1763 and the War of 1812. Reports of sightings continued into the 20th century, including before the 1967 Detroit riots. The Nain Rouge is now part of the modern Detroit culture, inspiring drinks, films, and the annual Marche du Nain Rouge, where locals chase the creature out of town. Scholars suggest that the legend blends both French and Native American traditions, serving as a symbol for those marginalized by history, often representing a menace to those in power. The Honey Island Swamp Monster, a humanoid cryptid, has been sighted in and around Louisiana's Honey Island Swamp since 1963. First reported by hunters who spotted it prowling the swamps, it's described as over 7.5 feet tall, weighing 400 to 500 plus pounds, with matted grey or brown hair and reptilian yellow eyes. Tracks indicate three-toed webbed feet, leading some to speculate it's a Bigfoot evolution adapted to the swamp environment or even an experiment gone awry. This enigmatic creature emits a putrid odor, earning it the moniker Louisiana Wookiee, and is blamed for livestock deaths and children's disappearances. Local lore suggests it might be a hybrid of a chimpanzee and alligator, stemming from a train wreck legend near the Pearl River. According to the tale, exotic animals from a circus train fled into the swamps, with surviving chimpanzees purportedly interbreeding with alligators. However, such interbreeding is biologically impossible. Despite its mythical origins, the Honey Island swamp monster remains a fixture of regional folklore, evoking the eerie allure of the primordial swamps and the mysteries they hold. Black Shuck is a legendary ghostly black dog said to roam the countryside and coastline of East Anglia, England. Stories about this creature are especially common in Norfolk, Suffolk, the Cambridgeshire Fens, and Essex. While some tales describe Black Shuck as a harbinger of death, others portray it as a more neutral or even protective presence. Descriptions of Black Shuck vary widely. Some say it's the size of a large dog, while others claim it's as big as a calf or even a horse. A well-known account from W.A. Dutt in 1901 describes it as a massive black dog with a single, glowing eye in the middle of its forehead. Its silent footsteps contrast with its eerie howl, which is said to send shivers down the spine. According to legend, seeing Black Shuck could mean death before the year's end, so those who hear its howls are warned to shut their eyes. Some believe the legend of Black Shuck has roots in Old Norse mythology, possibly linked to the Black Hound of Odin, brought over by Viking settlers. An early reference to ghostly black hounds appears in a 12th century chronicle from Peterborough Abbey, which describes a terrifying group of black-clad huntsmen with jet-black hounds roaming the countryside. This sighting resembles the European myth of the Wild Hunt, a spectral procession of ghostly riders and hounds. Old Green Eyes is a ghostly, ghoul-like creature said to haunt the Chickamauga battlefield, the site of one of the bloodiest conflicts of the American Civil War. Witnesses describe it as a human-like figure with glowing green eyes, long hair, and a terrifying, fang-filled jaw. Legend suggests that Old Green Eyes existed long before the war, but was drawn to the battlefield by the immense bloodshed of the 1863 battle. In the aftermath, soldiers reported seeing a glowing-eyed figure moving among the corpses near Snodgrass Hill. Some believe it is the restless spirit of a fallen warrior, while others claim it is something inhuman, a malevolent force that feeds on death and despair. Reports of encounters have persisted for over a century. In the 1970s, 2 drivers crashed near the same spot in Chickamauga National Park, both claiming they had swerved to avoid a pair of glowing eyes staring at them from the darkness. One of the most chilling accounts comes from Edward Tinney, a park ranger who, in 1976, encountered the creature while patrolling at 4 a.m. As an icy chill ran through him, a tall figure stepped from the shadows. Its long hair, piercing green-orange eyes, and sharp teeth left him paralyzed with fear. Just as he was about to react, an approaching car's headlights cut through the fog, and the figure vanished before his eyes. Though the original Civil War-era accounts have faded with time, sightings of Old Green Eyes continue, keeping the legend alive among visitors and rangers of Chickamauga National Park. Black-eyed children are paranormal creatures from American contemporary legend. Described as resembling children or teenagers with pale skin and entirely black eyes, they are often reported to be seen hitchhiking, begging, or appearing on the doorsteps of homes. While some tabloid sources claim that tales of black-eyed children date back to the 1980s, most of the lore can be traced to 1996, when Texas reporter Brian Bethel posted accounts of 2 encounters on a ghost-related mailing list. Bethel recounted his experience in Abilene, Texas, as well as a similar encounter reported by another individual in Portland, Oregon. These stories gained traction and became classic examples of creepypasta, leading Bethel to publish a FAQ to satisfy the growing interest in the urban legend. The phenomenon further infiltrated pop culture with the 2012 horror film Black-Eyed Kids, which was funded through Kickstarter. Its director noted that the concept of black-eyed children had circulated online for years and intrigued him. In September 2014, the Daily Star published 3 sensationalized stories about sightings of black-eyed children, linking them to the sale of a purportedly haunted pub in Staffordshire and claiming a spike in global sightings. This garnered attention from ghost hunters, some of whom theorize that these children might be extraterrestrials, vampires, or ghosts. However, science writer Sharon A. Hill found no credible documentation supporting these encounters, suggesting they are merely friend of a friend ghost stories, akin to traditional spooky folklore. The Mongolian death worm, known as Olgoi Korkoi in Mongolian, is a legendary creature said to inhabit the Gobi Desert. Described as a thick, red, headless worm about 2 feet long, it is believed to be highly toxic, so deadly that mere contact can cause instant death. Some accounts even claim it can kill from a distance by spraying venom or using an electric discharge. The first Western reference to the creature came from American paleontologist Roy Chapman Andrews in his 1926 book On the Trail of Ancient Man. Though he never saw the creature himself, he recorded detailed descriptions from Mongolian officials who strongly believed in its existence. However, Andrews remained skeptical. In 1983, a Tatar sand boa was shown to locals who claimed to have seen the death worm, and they confirmed it as the same creature. This led some researchers to speculate that the legend may be based on misidentified real animals. Others believe natural phenomena, such as underground gas eruptions or mirages in the desert, may have inspired the stories. Over the years, multiple expeditions have tried to uncover the truth. Czech cryptozoologist Ivan McCurl led searches in the 1990s, even attempting to lure the worm to the surface using rhythmic vibrations inspired by Frank Herbert's Dune. In 2005, zoological journalist Richard Freeman investigated but found no evidence beyond folklore. Television shows like Destination Truth and journalist David Farrier's 2009 expedition also came up empty-handed, though locals continued to insist that sightings were common in the 1950s. Mothman is a legendary figure in West Virginian folklore, notably associated with the Point Pleasant area. Sightings of this humanoid creature reportedly took place between November 15, 1966 and December 15, 1967, igniting public fascination and fear. The first reported sighting appeared in the Point Pleasant Register on November 16, 1966, with a headline reading, "Couples see man-sized bird, creature, something." This initial report, along with subsequent sightings, captured the attention of local and then national media, helping to propagate the Mothman legend across the United States. Some researchers believe that these sightings may have been misidentified sandhill cranes or herons, which can appear unusual when seen at night. The Mothman story was significantly popularized by author Gray Barker in 1970 and later expanded upon by John Keel in his 1975 book, The Mothman Prophecies. Keel's work suggested a link between the Mothman sightings and paranormal phenomena, including the tragic collapse of the Silver Bridge in 1967, which resulted in 46 fatalities. This connection fueled speculation about the creature as a harbinger of disaster. To celebrate this unique aspect of their heritage, Point Pleasant hosts an annual Mothman Festival, drawing enthusiasts and curious visitors eager to learn more about the mysterious creature and its folklore. The festival includes activities, guest speakers, and a variety of Mothman-themed merchandise, contributing to the town's identity and the enduring fascination with this enigmatic figure. Batsquatch is a mysterious flying creature reportedly spotted near Mount St. Helens in the 1980s. Its name combines bat and Sasquatch, reflecting its mix of primate and bat-like features. Similar to the Ahul and Orang Bati of Southeast Asia, this cryptid is described as having glowing yellow eyes, a dog-like snout, blue fur, sharp teeth, bird-like feet, and massive, leathery wings that can span up to 50 feet. Some reports even claim it can interfere with car engines. The first known sightings occurred after Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980, with reports of a winged, red-eyed creature flying through the volcanic plume. Over the years, multiple encounters followed. In 1994, Brian Canfield claimed his truck suddenly stalled in Pierce County, Washington, just before a towering blue-furred being with bat-like wings landed in front of him. His account sparked further reports, including one from a pilot named Butch Whitaker, who allegedly saw the creature in flight. Other sightings describe variations in size and appearance. A 1998 truck driver in Oregon reported hitting a 15-foot-tall version with purple eyes and small wings. In 2009, hikers near Mount Shasta saw a massive winged creature emerge from a crevice, initially comparing it to a pterodactyl before reconsidering it as a giant bat. In 2011, a man named Phoenix Tierraz described seeing a glowing-eyed, blue-furred beast soaring through the sky. Even in 2014, students at an Ohio high school reported a dark figure with a 30-foot wingspan speeding past their classroom window. The Brosno Dragon, or Brosnia, is a mysterious creature said to inhabit Lake Brosno in Russia. While many remain skeptical, theories about its true nature range from giant, long-lived fish, such as a 150-year-old pike, to mutant beavers or even groups of wild boars and elk swimming across the lake. Some scientists suggest that natural phenomena could explain the sightings. One theory points to hydrogen sulfide gas rising from the lake bottom, creating a bubbling effect that could resemble a dragon's head. Another hypothesis involves an undiscovered underwater volcano, which might occasionally erupt, causing disturbances on the water's surface. The lake's deep fractures and unknown depths add to the speculation that something unusual could be lurking below. Fishermen describe Lake Brosno's underwater landscape as having multiple levels, with various fish species, including burbots and yellow perch. The presence of smelt and even herring, typically found in the sea, raises questions about the lake's ecosystem. Some researchers believe that large shoals of smelt, when seen through light refraction, might create an illusion resembling a massive reptilian head, leading to reported sightings. Witnesses often claim to see Brosnia during summer, which supports the idea that mirages caused by heat could play a role. Adding to the mystery, a globster, an unidentified mass of decomposing organic material, once washed ashore at Lake Brosno. Some believe it could have been the remains of the Brosno Dragon, but without proper analysis, the legend remains unproven. Whether a prehistoric creature, a trick of the light, or a product of imagination, the mystery of Brosnia continues to intrigue locals and cryptid enthusiasts alike. The Dover Demon is a mysterious creature reportedly sighted on April 21, 1977, in Dover, Massachusetts, about 15 miles southwest of Boston. The encounters, characterized by unusual descriptions and the absence of definitive explanations, continue to intrigue both believers and skeptics. The first sighting was reported by 17-year-old William Bill Bartlett, who claimed to have seen a creature about 4 feet tall with glowing orange eyes, a watermelon-shaped head, and no nose or mouth while driving on Farm Street. That same evening, 15-year-olds John Baxter and Abby Brabham reported similar encounters in different locations. Each teenager sketched the creature, with Bartlett declaring, "I, Bill Bartlett, swear on a stack of Bibles that I saw this creature." The sightings formed a straight line over 2 miles, but they remained unpublicized until mid-May, when they gained attention from local investigators. Various theories have emerged regarding the identity of the creature. Some skeptics suggest it could have been a foal or a moose calf. Investigative skeptic Joe Nickel speculated that the creature might have been a snowy owl, as its size and plumage could have reflected in headlights, creating the peach-colored appearance described by witnesses. The supposed long, spindly arms could resemble the owl's partially opened wings. Authorities even suggested that the reports might have been a hoax, linked to school vacation antics. Additionally, some skeptics pointed out the influence of 1970s pop culture, characterized by fascination with big-headed, alien-like beings. Despite these explanations, the sightings of the Dover Demon remain a captivating enigma in local folklore. The Lizard Man of Scape or Swamp is a creature from the folklore of Lee County, South Carolina, first reported in the late 1980s. Described as a tall, lizard-like entity, it gained notoriety following a series of sightings that attracted significant media attention. The legend began on July 14, 1988, when the Lee County Sheriff's Office investigated damage to a car parked near Browntown. The vehicle had tooth marks, scratches, and muddy footprints nearby. Shortly after, a local teenager, Christopher Davis, reported an encounter with a creature he described as green, wet-like, about 7 feet tall, with 3 fingers and red eyes. Davis claimed that after getting a flat tire, he was confronted by the creature, which jumped on his car. His story sparked widespread media coverage and turned the area into a tourist attraction, complete with Lizard Man merchandise. As sightings increased, local radio stations even offered rewards for capturing the creature. On August 5th, Airman Kenneth Orr claimed he had shot and wounded the Lizard Man, presenting scales and blood as evidence. However, he later admitted to fabricating the story. Despite the initial frenzy, reports of the Lizard Man declined as summer ended. Law enforcement speculated that many sightings could have been misidentified bears. In 2008, a new wave of interest arose when a couple reported vehicle damage, later confirmed to be from a domestic dog. Skeptics like Ben Radford have pointed out inconsistencies in Davis's story, noting changes in details over time and questioning the feasibility of his claims. Critics argue that no physical evidence of the Lizard Man has ever been found, and some suggest that Davis may have mistaken a local farmer for the creature during his encounter. In American folklore, the Snallygaster is a legendary creature that combines bird and reptile features, stemming from the superstitions of early German immigrants and sensationalistic newspaper reports. The origins of the Snallygaster date back to the 18th century when German settlers began arriving in Maryland. They spoke of a monster called the Schneller Geist, or Quick Ghost, which terrorized the community. Early descriptions of the creature depicted it as a half-reptile, half-bird chimera with a metallic beak lined with razor-sharp teeth and occasionally possessing octopus-like tentacles. This creature was said to swoop silently from the sky to snatch its victims, and early accounts claimed it would suck the blood of those it captured. Locals believed that seven-pointed stars could ward off the Snallygaster, and remnants of this folklore can still be seen today in painted stars on barns. In the 19th century, the legend experienced a resurgence, possibly as a means to frighten freed slaves. The 20th century brought a wave of publicity for the creature. In February and March of 1909, newspaper accounts detailed encounters with a beast described as having enormous wings, a long pointed bill, and claws likened to steel hooks. This creature allegedly screeched like a locomotive whistle, and the Smithsonian Institution even offered a reward for its hide. Rumor had it that President Theodore Roosevelt considered postponing an African safari to hunt the beast. However, these reports were ultimately revealed to be part of a hoax orchestrated by George C. Roderick, editor of the Middletown Valley Register, and reporter Ralph S. Wolfe, who aimed to boost readership by creating sensational stories that borrowed from existing German folklore and contemporary legends like the Jersey Devil. The Grunch Road monster is a cryptid said to lurk in New Orleans, often described as a hybrid between the Chupacabra and a reptilian predator. Locals have called it the Grunch for generations, with legends dating back to the city's earliest days. Unlike similar creatures reported elsewhere, the Grunch has a long history in Louisiana folklore, with some stories tying its origins to the infamous voodoo queen Marie Laveau. According to one tale, Laveau attempted to stop the devil baby from spreading evil by castrating it. The severed parts allegedly transformed into a pair of Grunch creatures, which then attacked her before vanishing into the night. Some say this encounter led Laveau to abandon voodoo and return to Catholicism. The Grunch is typically described as a small, goat-like creature with scaly or leathery skin, sharp spines, glowing eyes, and sometimes bat-like wings. It is believed to be highly intelligent, with reports claiming it can open doors and use tools. Witnesses say it emits terrifying howls, screams like a banshee, and gives off a foul stench. Unlike traditional swamp predators, it is said to drain its victim's blood through a single wound. The legend is closely tied to Grunch Road, a now-vanished path in eastern New Orleans near Little Woods. This isolated road was rumored to be haunted, with sightings of glowing lights, eerie noises, and strange figures lurking in the shadows. Some claim the area was home to a race of goat-like humanoids. Though the road itself is gone, reports of Grunch sightings persist, especially in neighborhoods like Lakeview, Metairie, Chalmette, and Slidell. After Hurricane Katrina, many New Orleans residents reported an increase in Grunch activity, with sightings of the creature scavenging trash, chasing animals, and even attacking pets. While skeptics suggest these could be mangy wild animals, the legend remains strong, with new encounters keeping the mystery alive. The Beast of Bray Road is a wolf-like creature reported in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, that has become a staple of local folklore. Its name derives from the rural road where it was first sighted. Reports of the creature, particularly in the 1980s and 1990s, attracted media attention, leading to investigations by reporter Linda Godfrey. Initially skeptical, Godfrey became convinced of the witness's sincerity, compiling her findings into the book The Beast of Bray Road, Tailing Wisconsin's Werewolf. Witnesses often describe the beast as standing between 6 and 7 feet tall, with a humanoid body covered in fur and a head resembling that of a wolf. It is said to have large, glowing red or orange eyes and has been observed moving on both 2 and 4 legs. Some accounts compare it to traditional werewolves or Bigfoot. The first sighting of the creature reportedly occurred in 1936 at St. Coletta School for Exceptional Children. In the late 20th century, witnesses reported encounters with the beast that involved it leaving scratch marks on vehicles. One notable account involved a woman who hit something while driving on Bray Road. When she exited her vehicle to check, a large, wolf-like creature with glowing eyes chased her back inside, leaving claw marks on her car. Further sightings included unusual animal mutilations, where remains of deer and livestock were found with specific organs removed. Some witnesses reported seeing the creature eating roadkill, while others noted its large size as it ran through cornfields, even chasing deer. Alleged sightings of a large, upright, hair-covered creature continued into 2018 and 2020 in nearby Spring Prairie and Lyons. Skeptics suggest that the beast of Bray Road may be misidentified gray wolves, large dogs, or even black bears suffering from mange. Hoaxes and mass hysteria are also considered possible explanations for the phenomenon, leading to normal animal sightings being conflated under the same legend. The Ningen is a modern Japanese internet legend about a mysterious humanoid sea creature said to inhabit the waters of the Southern Ocean. First appearing on online forums in the mid-2000s, the legend quickly gained traction, with alleged sightings and theories fueling speculation about its existence. The story began in 2007 when a post on 2channel described an encounter by a whale research crew near Antarctica. According to the account, the crew initially mistook the creature for a submarine, only to realize it had a human-like face before it disappeared beneath the waves. Though no official reports exist, the tale spread across the internet, leading to further claims and supposed photographic evidence. One widely discussed image comes from Google Earth in 2005, showing a large white figure near the Southern Ocean. While some believe this is proof of the Ningen, skeptics argue it was likely an iceberg with an unusual shape. In 2010, a video by the Enoshima Aquarium showed an eerie figure on the ocean floor, which some claimed was a Ningen. However, experts identified it as either a snaggle-toothed snake eel or an oddly shaped rock formation. Descriptions of the Ningen vary. Most portray it as a massive, whale-like being with human-like features, including a smooth, pale body, a large, slit-like mouth, and either small or wide, gaping eyes. Some reports suggest it has arms and hands, with a length of 65 to 100 feet. A less common version depicts the creature as smaller and terrestrial, resembling a giant head with legs wandering Antarctica. Despite its eerie reputation, there is no scientific evidence supporting the existence of the Ningen. Most researchers believe the legend is a mix of misidentified marine life, ice formations, and internet-fueled myth-making. Still, the mystery remains popular in Japanese folklore, keeping the story alive with new alleged sightings and deep-sea speculations. The Fresno Nightcrawler is a cryptid known for its unusual appearance, tall, thin, and almost entirely made up of long, stilt-like legs. First captured on video in Fresno, California, this eerie figure has since been spotted in other locations, including Yosemite National Park, Poland, and Montana. Despite its growing legend, there is no concrete evidence proving its existence, and many believe the sightings are hoaxes or misidentified objects. The first reported sighting occurred when a man named Jose noticed strange movements on his home surveillance camera. The grainy footage showed two mysterious figures with no visible arms gliding across his lawn. While his brother claimed to have seen small footprints outside, any physical evidence had disappeared by the time investigators arrived. The original footage was eventually lost, leaving only low-quality recordings taken from a monitor. Similar creatures have been recorded in Yosemite, where security footage showed two night crawlers, one smaller than the other. Some believe these beings are extraterrestrial, while others suggest they could be an unknown species of primate or even a misidentified deer. However, skeptics argue that the videos are likely hoaxes, with some claiming they are nothing more than puppets or pants on wires. A related sighting, known as the Carmel Area Creature, was reported in Ohio by a former Marine who saw a tall, gray, armless being crossing the road. While some connect it to the Nightcrawler legend, its description differs slightly, making it unclear if the two are related. Despite questions surrounding its authenticity, the Fresno Nightcrawler has become a beloved figure in cryptid lore and pop culture. It has been featured in TV shows, books, and even as plush toys sold on Etsy. The Enfield monster is the name given to a strange creature reportedly seen in Enfield, Illinois in April 1973. The sightings gained media attention, with some speculating that the creature could have been an escaped kangaroo or a wild ape. The case was later studied as an example of how hysteria and group emotions can influence a community. The most well-known encounter happened on April 25th, when Henry McDaniel heard scratching at his front door. Thinking it might be a bear, he grabbed a flashlight and a gun before stepping outside. He claimed to have seen a 4.5-foot-tall, grayish creature with 3 legs, short arms, and glowing pink eyes. He fired 4 shots, hitting it once, but the creature hissed and jumped 50 feet in 3 bounds before disappearing into the night. Authorities found unusual footprints near his home and described McDaniel as a credible witness. Around the same time, 10-year-old Greg Garrett claimed that the creature stepped on his feet, shredding his shoes. However, he later admitted he made up the story to tease McDaniel. 2 weeks after his first sighting, McDaniel reported seeing the creature again, this time moving along the railroad tracks near his home. A news crew, led by radio director Rick Rainbow, later investigated the area and reported spotting an ape-like creature in an abandoned building. They even recorded eerie sounds, which cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman later analyzed. As word spread, armed monster hunters arrived in Enfield, leading to police arrests for illegal hunting. Concerned residents feared that overzealous search parties could endanger people or livestock. Speculation about the creature's identity included the possibility of an escaped kangaroo, as its powerful tail could resemble a third leg. However, McDaniel dismissed this theory, stating that he had owned a kangaroo while serving in Australia and knew what they looked like. Another possibility was a missing pet kangaroo named Macy, which had disappeared from Ohio the year before. Some even suggested that the creature could have been a wild ape, as similar reports had surfaced in the region since the 1940s. Shadow people are mysterious, dark figures that some believe are supernatural entities, while others consider them psychological or neurological phenomena. Typically seen as humanoid silhouettes flickering in peripheral vision, they have been described in folklore, paranormal discussions, and even scientific studies. Legends of shadowy figures date back centuries, with comparisons made to the Islamic jinn and the Choctaw Nalusa Cheeto. However, modern discussions about shadow people gained traction in the early 2000s, largely due to the late-night radio show Coast to Coast AM. In 2001, host Art Bell interviewed Harley Swift Deer Reagan, who claimed shadow people were a real phenomenon. The topic quickly spread, with listeners submitting drawings and sharing their encounters online. Author Heidi Hollis further fueled interest by describing shadow people as malevolent entities that may attempt to choke or jump on sleeping individuals. She theorized they could be negative extraterrestrial beings that could be repelled through religious invocations. While many paranormal enthusiasts see shadow figures as ominous, others speculate they may be interdimensional beings or neutral spirits. One particularly infamous shadow figure is the Hat Man, a tall, dark silhouette distinguished by a fedora or brimmed hat. Unlike typical shadow people who are often fleeting, Hat Man encounters are described as more prolonged, with some witnesses claiming they can feel him staring. Reports link Hat Man's sightings to sleep paralysis, and some suggest a connection to diphenhydramine Benadryl abuse. Several rational explanations exist for shadow people sightings. Sleep paralysis can cause individuals to hallucinate dark figures approaching them while they remain unable to move. Heightened anxiety or fear in dark environments can lead the brain to misinterpret shadows as threats. Sleep deprivation and substance use, particularly methamphetamine, have been linked to shadow figure sightings, suggesting they may be hallucinations caused by altered brain chemistry. Neurological conditions like schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, which cause visual hallucinations, may also explain reports of shadow people. The Nameless Thing of Berkeley Square is a strange and terrifying entity that reportedly haunted 50 Berkeley Square in London between the 18th and 19th centuries. Some believe it was a ghost or supernatural force, while others suspect it was a cryptid, possibly an unknown cephalopod-like creature. The building itself dates back to 1740 and was once home to notable figures, including British Prime Minister George Canning. While its eerie reputation is difficult to trace, stories of paranormal encounters began to surface in the late 17th century, with reports intensifying by 1840. Newspapers at the time described the house as disturbed and inhabited by something truly demonic. One of the most infamous incidents involved 20-year-old Sir Robert Warboys. Dismissing the tales as nonsense, he accepted a dare to spend the night in the notorious second-floor room. Armed with a pistol and a candle, he settled in. Less than an hour later, the building's guard heard strange noises, followed by a gunshot. Rushing to the room, he found Warboy's lifeless body, his face frozen in an expression of pure terror. The room was undisturbed except for a single bullet hole, suggesting he had fired at something before his death. Decades later, 2 sailors from HMS Penelope, Robert Martin and Edward Blunden, unknowingly became the next victims. Seeking a place to stay for the night, they ended up in the same room. While sleeping, Blunden awoke to see something grey and slimy crawling across the floor. As he tried to wake Martin, the creature lunged at his throat. Martin fled to find help, but when authorities arrived, Blunden's body was found in the basement, his face twisted in the same horrifying expression as Warboy's. Another encounter involved Thomas Littleton, who claimed to have seen the creature and shot it. However, when he searched for its body, it had vanished. Witnesses who claim to have seen the entity describe it as having tentacle-like limbs, leading to speculation that it was some kind of mutated cephalopod. Since 1938, the ground floor of 50 Berkeley Square has housed the Maggs Brothers Bookshop. Employees are strictly forbidden from entering the second floor, just in case. In folklore, the Michigan Dogman is a legendary creature reportedly sighted in 1887 in Wexford County, Michigan. Described as a 7-foot-tall, bipedal, canine-like being with blue or amber eyes, it is said to have the body of a man and the head of a dog. The creature is infamous for its terrifying howl, which resembles a human scream. According to local legends, the Michigan Dogman appears in a 10-year cycle, specifically in years ending in 7. Sightings have been reported in various locations throughout Michigan, primarily in the northwestern quadrant of the Lower Peninsula, where many believers assert that simply clapping can scare it away. The history of the Michigan Dogman is steeped in mystery, as the creature remained largely unknown to the modern world until the late 20th century. It is rumored to have stalked the area around the Manistee River since the time of the Odawa tribes. The first documented encounter occurred in 1887 when two lumberjacks claimed to have seen a creature with a man's body and a dog's head. Subsequent reports include a 1937 incident in Paris, Michigan, where Robert Fortney was attacked by a pack of wild dogs, one of which allegedly walked on two legs. Further sightings emerged in Allegan County during the 1950s and in Manistee and Cross Village in 1967. Folklore researcher Linda S. Godfrey has drawn parallels between the Michigan Dogman and a similar creature known as the Beast of Bray Road, which has been reported in Wisconsin. The legend gained significant traction in 1987 when disc jockey Steve Cook at WTCM-FM in Traverse City recorded a song titled The Legend. Originally conceived as an April Fool's Day prank, Cook had never heard of the Michigan Dogman prior to the recording. He later expressed skepticism about the creature's existence, but acknowledged that people who claim to have seen it genuinely believe in their experiences. Following the song's airplay, Cook received numerous calls from listeners recounting their own encounters. The song quickly became the most requested on his station, and Cook sold cassettes of it, donating proceeds to an animal shelter. Over the years, he has received over 100 reports of the Dogman's existence. The Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter, also known as the Hopkinsville Goblins case, is one of the most famous UFO-related incidents in American history. It took place on the night of August 21, 1955, near Kelly and Hopkinsville, Kentucky, when a family claimed to have been terrorized by small alien beings for several hours. While UFO researchers consider it a significant case, skeptics argue that misidentified animals, excitement, and even possible intoxication played a role in the reports. The U.S. Air Force's Project Blue Book ultimately classified the event as a hoax. According to the Sutton family and their guests, strange creatures, described as short, glowing-eyed beings with clawed hands and floating movements, began appearing outside their farmhouse. Two of the men, Elmer Lucky Sutton and Billy Ray Taylor, said they fired at the creatures repeatedly, but the bullets seemed to bounce off. Frightened, the family eventually fled to the Hopkinsville police station, reporting that they had been defending their home for nearly 4 hours. Authorities responded quickly with local police, state troopers, and even military police from nearby Fort Campbell arriving to investigate. However, they found no creatures, only bullet holes in the farmhouse and signs of gunfire. Skeptics suggest the family may have mistaken great horned owls for something extraterrestrial. These nocturnal birds have large, reflective eyes, silent flight, and a defensive nature that could explain the strange movements and glowing eyes. Some also point out that a meteor had been reported in the area that night, which could explain Taylor's claim of seeing a bright light streaking across the sky. Ufologist Jerome Clark highlighted witness descriptions of the creatures floating through trees and an odd glowing patch on a fence where one had been shot. While this might sound otherworldly, skeptics argue it could have been foxfire, a natural bioluminescence from decaying wood. Despite no physical evidence, the case gained lasting fame, inspiring comparisons to gremlins and giving rise to the Hopkinsville Goblins legend. It has been referenced in popular culture, influencing movies, games, and UFO folklore. Whether a true extraterrestrial encounter or a case of mistaken identity, the Kelly-Hopkinsville event remains one of the most intriguing and debated incidents in UFO history. The Devil's Lake monster, known as Midewakan by the Nakota Sioux, is a mysterious aquatic creature said to inhabit Devil's Lake in Oregon. Described as an octopus-like beast The legend suggests it has been responsible for numerous deaths, while some believe it resembles a plesiosaur, an ancient marine reptile thought to be extinct. Devil's Lake itself has long had a reputation for being eerie. Formed by glaciers during the last ice age, this cold, brackish body of water was once considered sacred by the Nakota Sioux. However, when white settlers arrived in the mid-1800s, the lake was renamed Devil's Lake, a name that locals claim fits the unsettling nature of the area. One of the earliest stories involves a Native American chief who led a group of young warriors across the lake on a hunting trip under the full moon. As they paddled their canoe across the dark waters, massive tentacles erupted from below, capsizing their boat and dragging them beneath the surface. Their screams echoed across the lake, alerting the tribe on shore, who watched in horror as the beast disappeared back into the depths. To honor the fallen warriors and appease the creature, the tribe began an annual tradition of offering sacrifices to the lake, a ritual that continues today, though now as a community gathering celebrating tribal history. Another legend emerged during a great drought when the lake shrank into two separate bodies of water. One morning, the Nakota discovered a massive, fish-like creature struggling in the mud between the two lakes. Believing it to be an Unctizina, a monstrous offspring of the evil spirit Unk, the tribe dared not approach it for fear of divine retribution. After days of struggling, the creature finally freed itself and vanished into the remaining deep water, leaving behind a lasting impression on those who witnessed it. More recently, in 1950, a strange carcass washed up on the nearby ocean shore, fueling speculation that it may have been the Devil's Lake Monster. The creature, nicknamed Old Hairy, was reported to be 22 feet long, weighed around 1,000 pounds, and had the body of a cow, multiple tails, and was covered in hair. While some theorized it was an unknown species or even a decomposed whale, its true identity remains a mystery. Whether a lake-dwelling octopus, an ancient reptile, or a misunderstood natural phenomenon, the Devil's Lake Monster continues to be a source of fascination and folklore. The stories surrounding it have been passed down for generations, keeping the legend alive in the misty waters of Devil's Lake. The Goatman is a well-known cryptid in Maryland folklore, particularly associated with the area of Prince George's County. This creature has become a staple of local legend, with various sightings and tales that have evolved over the decades. The Goatman legend reportedly began gaining traction in the early 1970s, although some stories trace back to the late 1930s. Initial accounts describe the creature in connection with mysterious disappearances and deaths of local dogs, which residents attributed to the Goatman. However, investigations suggested that these deaths might have been caused by passing trains rather than a predatory cryptid. Despite the lack of evidence, the legend persisted, particularly among students and locals, often manifested in graffiti declaring, "Goatman was here." Witness accounts of the Goatman vary significantly, with common descriptions portraying it as having a human face but a body covered in hair. Some interpretations liken it to a hairy humanoid, while others suggest a more mythological appearance, resembling a faun from Greek lore, with the upper body of a human and the lower body of a goat. The creature was often rumored to inhabit makeshift shelters in the wooded areas of northeastern Prince George's County, particularly near abandoned trailer parks. The Goatman gained further prominence in 1971, particularly after a report by journalist Karen Hosler in the Prince George's County News. This report detailed the Goatman's supposed location near Fletchertown Road in Bowie, Maryland, while also exploring the theory that the creature originated from experiments at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. These tales captured the imagination of the local community, leading to numerous reported sightings, many of which turned out to be pranks or exaggerations. Several variations of the Goatman legend have emerged over the years. One popular version posits that the Goatman was once Dr. Stephen Fletcher, a scientist at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. According to this story, an experiment involving goats went awry, mutating him into a half-man, half-goat creature that began terrorizing the area, particularly attacking cars near Beltsville. Another variation presents the Goatman as an old hermit who roamed the woods at night, often seen walking along Fletchertown Road. Folklorist Barry Pearson of the University of Maryland has noted that the Goatman legend is deeply rooted in local culture, suggesting that it has been perpetuated by bored teenagers sharing stories and spreading rumors about the creature attacking couples at local lovers' lanes. This storytelling has fueled interest in specific locations, notably Fletchertown Road, where many sightings have reportedly occurred. The Murphysboro Mud Monster, also known as the Big Muddy Monster, is a strange, ape-like creature that caused a wave of terror in Murphysboro, Illinois, during the summer of 1973. Described as an enormous mud-covered beast with matted white fur, it was first sighted near the Big Muddy River by a young couple, Randy Needham and Judy Johnson, who were parked in a secluded area. Their romantic evening took a terrifying turn when they heard an ear-piercing shriek and saw a hulking figure emerge from the underbrush. Panicked, they sped away and reported the encounter to the Murphysboro police. Officers dispatched to the scene discovered large, deep tracks near the riverbank. While investigating, they heard the same unearthly scream, prompting one officer to flee so quickly that he dropped his revolver. A search party returned later, following eerie, splashing sounds in the distance, but found nothing conclusive. The next night, 5-year-old Christian Barrell reported seeing a massive white figure behind his backyard fence. Minutes later, his teenage neighbor, Cheryl Ray, and her boyfriend, Randy Creeth, also witnessed the creature from a nearby porch. The sight of its glowing red eyes, foul odor, and sheer size left them frozen in fear before it finally retreated into the woods. Authorities organized a large-scale search, enlisting tracking dogs and armed officers. One of the dogs, a highly trained German shepherd named Reb, became so terrified near an abandoned barn that he refused to enter. This reaction, combined with the discovery of a trail of black slime, further fueled fears about the unknown beast. More sightings followed, including an incident where 3 carnival workers claimed the monster was watching their ponies late at night. Another resident heard unsettling screams coming from a nearby shed, but chose not to investigate. As fear spread, groups of armed locals began searching the woods, prompting concerns that someone might accidentally get hurt. Eventually, a private team attempted to capture the creature using a stun gun, chocolate, and bananas to lure it out. Despite hearing strange roars and finding more tracks, they never located the beast. Sightings dwindled, though sporadic reports continued over the next few years, including truckers describing a bear-like figure and hunters encountering a similar creature near a pond. Paranormal researchers, including Lauren Coleman, have theorized that the Murphysboro Mud Monster could be a regional variation of Bigfoot, noted for its unusual aggression compared to its West Coast counterparts. While its existence remains unproven, the legend endures, and the summer of '73 remains one of the most bizarre and chilling periods in Illinois cryptid history. The Pope-Lick Monster, colloquially known as the Goatman, is a legendary creature that is said to inhabit the area beneath a railroad trestle bridge over Pope-Lick Creek in the Fisherville neighborhood of Louisville, Kentucky. This enigmatic being is described as part man, part goat, and part sheep. Numerous urban legends surround the creature, detailing its origins and the methods it supposedly uses to lure its victims. Some accounts suggest that the Goatman uses hypnosis or voice mimicry to entice trespassers onto the trestle, leading them to their demise in front of oncoming trains. Other tales claim that the monster jumps down onto the roofs of cars passing below, while some versions depict it attacking with a blood-stained axe. There are even stories that assert the sight of the creature is so terrifying that it drives those who see it to leap off the trestle. Various legends detail the creature's backstory, suggesting it could be a human-goat hybrid, possibly a circus freak seeking revenge for mistreatment. One story proposes that the creature escaped after a train derailed on the trestle, while another local version claims it is the twisted reincarnation of a farmer who sacrificed goats for satanic powers. These legends have turned the area into a popular site for thrill seekers, known as legend trippers, despite the inherent dangers. There have been multiple deaths and accidents at the trestle since its construction, even with an 8-foot fence erected to keep out trespassers. A common misconception about the trestle is that it is abandoned. However, it serves as a vital rail artery into Louisville, with heavy freight trains crossing multiple times a day. This poses a significant danger to anyone caught on the trestle, as they could easily find themselves in the path of an oncoming train. Norfolk Southern Railway has warned the public against climbing the trestle, emphasizing that trespassers could face arrest. Tragically, several people have lost their lives while pursuing the legend of the Popobawa monster. In 1988, a 17-year-old was killed by a train while crossing the trestle, and another individual was injured during the same incident. A similar fate befell a man in 1994 when he was trapped on the tracks after his ATV overturned. In 2000, a 19-year-old fell to his death after encountering a train on the trestle. The dangers continued into recent years, with a tragic incident on April 23, 2016, when a 26-year-old tourist was hit and killed by a train while searching for the monster, though her boyfriend managed to survive by hanging onto the side of the trestle. The most recent incident occurred on May 26, 2019, when a 15-year-old girl was pronounced dead at the scene after being struck by a train while she and another girl were on the tracks. The Flatwoods Monster is a notable figure in West Virginia folklore, associated with a series of sightings in 1952. The incident began when a bright light streaked across the sky, leading to a widely reported encounter that remains a point of intrigue. On September 12, 1952, at approximately 7:15 p.m., two brothers, Edward and Fred May, along with their friend Tommy Heyer, witnessed a bright object that appeared to crash land on the property of farmer G. Bailey Fisher. Excited by their sighting, the boys went to find Kathleen May, who accompanied them along with local children Neil Nunley and Ronnie Shaver, and National Guardsman Eugene Lemon, to investigate. When they reached the top of a nearby hill, they reported seeing a pulsating red light. Lemon, shining his flashlight in that direction, claimed to have seen a tall, humanoid figure with a round red face and a pointed, hood-like shape. Descriptions of the figure varied, with some accounts suggesting it stood about 10 feet tall and had glowing eye-like shapes that emitted greenish-orange light. The figure allegedly made a hissing sound and moved toward the group, prompting Lemon to scream and drop his flashlight, causing the group to flee in terror. Witnesses also reported a pungent mist and feelings of nausea following the encounter. When local authorities investigated reports of a crashed aircraft in the area, they found no evidence of a creature or crash site, although some reports mentioned skid marks and a strange, gummy substance found the following day. The incident garnered significant media coverage, with national press outlets picking up the story and UFO enthusiasts descending upon Flatwoods to investigate. Reports spread quickly, leading to widespread interest in the supposed monster. UFO writers like Gray Barker and Ivan T. Sanderson arrived to look into the matter, further fueling the frenzy. In the years following the sightings, skeptics have offered various explanations. In 2000, investigator Joe Nickel concluded that the bright light was likely a meteor, while the pulsating red light could have been from an aircraft navigation or hazard beacon. He suggested that the creature witnesses described closely resembled a barn owl, which could have been startled and perched on a tree. The perception of the creature's humanoid features may have been distorted by the witnesses' anxiety and the surrounding foliage, which could create illusions of the lower body. Nickel noted that several flashing red aircraft beacons were visible in the area, which may have contributed to the sightings. He argued that the witnesses' descriptions of the creature's silhouette and movements closely matched the behavior of a startled barn owl, particularly when its talons were gripping a branch, leading to confusion about its physical form. Skeptic Ryan Haupt further emphasized that some of the supposed evidence, like tracks and residue, was likely the result of a local boy's truck, and that nausea experienced by witnesses could be attributed to hysteria and overexertion rather than an encounter with an extraterrestrial being. The beast of Gévaudan was a man-eating animal or group of animals that terrorized the province of Gévaudan in France from 1764 to 1767. The attacks took place across a 90 by 80 kilometers area in the Margeride Mountains and involved victims being mauled, often with throats torn out. The identity of the creature remains a mystery, with theories ranging from a wolf or wolf dog to an escaped lion or hyena. Contemporary accounts describe the beast as wolf-like but distinct. It was reportedly the size of a calf or cow, with tawny or russet fur streaked with black, a white heart-shaped mark on its belly, and a tail longer than a wolf's with a tuft at the end. Its head was said to resemble a greyhound's, with a flattened snout, wide mouth, and pointed ears. The creature was noted for its agility, leaping over high walls and bounding across fields toward its victims. The beast exhibited boldness and an unusual lack of fear toward humans. It frequently attacked during the day, even in the middle of villages, and was known to return to its victims if not pursued. It showed extraordinary persistence, with some claiming it continued its attacks despite being shot by skilled marksmen. Testimonies also reported its ability to appear in distant locations within short spans of time, contributing to its mystique. Its aggression often seemed excessive, as many attacks did not appear driven by hunger. A number of victims were partially consumed, while others were killed and left behind. The Kingdom of France mobilized significant resources to eliminate the beast, deploying soldiers, nobles, and professional huntsmen. A notable hunter, François Antoine, claimed to have killed a large wolf in 1765, believed to be the beast. However, attacks continued, leading to further efforts. A second wolf killed later was also credited with the attacks, after which they ceased. Reports of the beast's victims vary. A 1987 study estimated 210 attacks, resulting in 113 deaths and 49 injuries, with 98 victims partially eaten. Other sources suggest 6,100 fatalities. Descriptions and behaviors have fueled debate over the creature's identity. Many historians argue the beast was likely one or more large wolves or wolf packs, as wolf attacks were common across Europe during the era. Some suggest an escaped lion or striped hyena, citing physical descriptions and behaviors inconsistent with wolves. Unusually large feral dogs or hybrids may have been responsible, leading to theories about feral dogs or wolf-dog crosses. Recent speculation points to the Italian wolf, Canis lupus italicus, based on historical distributions and behavior. The Marine Report describes the creature as an unusually large wolf, but unlike those typically seen in the region. And there you have it. If you enjoy our content, please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. Thank you, and safe travels, my dear friends.